Hello, hello, hello. Welcome everyone to the 59th episode of Improving Chess with Sagar and the comedians. Uh, how are all of you doing here? I see a lot of people have joined in the chat. Wonderful to see you all. A good news for everyone is that actually couple of good news. One is that Vishy Anand managed to win after after six losses. Six matches. He's not used to losing so many games, but he came back and beat Boris Gelfand. I in fact uploaded a video just a few minutes ago, and so you can have a look at that to see how Anand managed to beat Gelfand. Apart from that, I think another good news is that yesterday the donations which we received through Super Chat, we have added that up and we have crossed 5 lakh rupees in our entire fundraiser. And I will be uploading that in the article. So today, later in the day, I'll be doing that. But so very very good news on many fronts. But I guess the not so great news is that all the comedians are sleeping yet, it seems to me. Maybe they will wake up, maybe not, but the improving chess saga has to continue, and that's the reason why we go on. We begin with first a game that I would like to play. If anyone would like to challenge me, the link, there's a second link in the description, that is the comedians room, and you can join in that. So would be wonderful to play against you. There's this very nice story of Anand, and many of you, just because you have joined in chess recently, I would like to share that with you because it's really a very nice one. So what happened was that in 2013, Vishy was playing against Magnus Carlsen in the World Championship match. And it happened in Chennai. It was a big event, lot of pressure on Anand because happening in the hometown in India, so many journalists following it, and I think all of this got to Vishy. Also, Carlsen being such a great player and young and talented, and Vishy lost that match. It was a 12 game match, and he lost it in, I think, if I'm not mistaken, 10 games itself. The score was 6.5, 3.5. I was actually in Chennai at that point, witnessing that match live. And then it so happens that the next year's candidates tournament was going to be held pretty soon, like in a couple of months. And Anand, being the loser of the World Championship match, or you say the runner-up, gets a direct seeding into the candidates. And everyone felt that Vishy had no chance, especially the way in which Carlsen beat him was so depressing that even Anand was not so keen on taking part in the tournament. And then there was this one Russian journalist, his name is Evgeny Surov, who wrote in one of the articles that if Vishy loses, I need to find exact words, so I'll just search. So Vishy Anand, Evgeny Surov. It became very popular. Yeah, here it is. And yeah, he said, if you asked me who would not win, then I'd be glad to give you. So Surov, he had a Russian website. He was trying to predict who would win the candidates, and he said, if you asked me who would not win, then I'd be glad to give you a clear reply, Anand. Let's agree on the following. If Anand wins the tournament, I'll publicly admit that I understand nothing about life or chess, and you will never ask me to take part in such a survey again. Yeah, and he said that. And well, Vishy, as always, this is one quality that he has, is he never listens to his detractors. He's never affected by all the noise, and this happens when you're on the top of the game for 3 decades. At first it affects you, but soon you start developing a wall around yourself, and this is exactly what happened with Anand. And he went to play the candidates, and he not only played but he actually won it. And then after the candidates, Surov said, "I have to admit, I understand nothing about life or chess." uh, and this was actually something very, very nice, that you could get to know about Vishy, that you can never write him off even when he is at his lowest. It's just that I feel somehow he's so focused on himself, always wanting to improve himself as a player, that he's always able to make a comeback. And so I think it's very inspiring. Never write him off, never say that he's going to retire, or never say he doesn't have the edge in him, because he's proved over and over again. I think it's beyond doubt what a classy player he is. Okay, so let's get going. I would like to play a game against Gappan, someone whom I have never seen before. Let's see, G Appan or Gappan. Aha, Kishore Hazarika ji, nice shirt. Kishore ji, thank you so much. Even yesterday in Chuchelo's show, you had sent a super chat. Sorry, I couldn't read that out, but thank you so much for always supporting. Okay, so knight f3, g6. Now this is something. Abhishek Deshpande, daily super chat attendance. Good morning, Sagar. Thank you so much, Abhishek. Very, very thankful. I'm going to show you one of the setups that I like to play against this Reti system. So he's played his knight to c3, slightly not in the spirit. I would play d5 here in normal cases because it looks good, but just because I want to show you the setup, I'm going to play d6. So the setup that I'm talking about begins with the move e5, and this is actually a very interesting one, because I kind of make this V shape, and I also make a weakness on d5, but I would like to put my knight more favorably on e7, and yeah, f6 is okay. It seems like a part of a plan. Anarkali, thank you so much. Attendance, Sergi. Thank you. I guess the nice thing is there are so many people who are now getting interested in improving at chess, because first what seemed like, okay, chess is going to be played for some time, is now being played, is going on for quite a bit of time in the lockdown, and when you're playing it, why not improve at it? It's very logical. So very nice to see this. So here you see I have managed to actually create this kind of, and I want to go f5 next, but somehow I'm not so certain about this g5 square, so I'll control it with h6, planning f5 on the next move. Yes, also Hari Krishna played amazingly well. That is true. Hari Krishna is playing phenomenal chess, and maybe we can have a look at his game. He's in BL. By the way, my opponent G Appan seems like a good player. I can sense it from his moves. The question is, should I take and take a pawn? I know that if I snatch that pawn, he will get counterplay, because. But the question is, if I go b6, I think I'll plan b6 here. I mean, I can take knight before rook f b1, but let's go b6. Let's keep it simple for now. If he takes, I would like to take with the d pawn. And yeah, knight d5, I'm not so much thrilled with this move, because now what I can do is take, and this is usually the idea. If you have a weakness, a square weakness, you can actually take it and bring a pawn on that square, and the square is no longer weak. Okay, b5. All right, so now we have reached a situation where I can pick up a pawn perhaps. I don't know if he has any threats. He can take knight into e5, but I have d5. If he goes knight g5 check, I can take fg, bishop d5, and then just save the rook b8. That would mean an extra pawn. I mean, a pawn does matter, yeah, in chess. You just don't give it up like that. But maybe his plan is c4. Okay, but I can take on e3. The other plan can be knight d5, knight e8, knight e1, attacking this, and then I go bishop b7. He goes c4. But I can play knight e3 and knight f1. Yeah, I think this is okay. Let's take it. I don't think I'm missing something here. I don't think so. Knight g5 definitely makes sense. I mean, it seems like the only logical move. Oh, but then if you give me this thing, then I'm okay. I can take. I should have played bishop b7, but okay. And now if I play bishop b7, knight g5, fg5, bishop b7, so maybe first just get the rook out from the diagonal. Could be d5 was a better move, d5, but then d5, c4, d4 possible. a5, a4 seems logical. Okay, let's go bishop b7. And he might play a5 now. And I think a5 makes sense in a way, because but I have these central pawns. I'm going to push d5, maybe try and get f5, just get everything rolling in the position. Okay, knight h4, you want to exchange. Fine, let's exchange this. And now go f5. The plan is to go f4 if possible. Knight h4. What if I just go f4, try and next I can go bishop f6, maybe looking at this knight. Oh, taking here is a bad idea. You just lose. You lose a piece. That's not good. Siddharth Ranadev, thank you so much, Siddharth. Good morning to you as well, Siddharth. Thanks for joining in. By the way, taking the queen or knight was okay, but I could have even taken with the pawn and attacked the rook on a1. So even that was very strong. But now the game is over. You just pawn up. Okay, and now I think it's time for a double attack, because h2 is hanging and also a1 is hanging. Yeah, and now take this guy. Would that be the fastest way? Yeah, take, and let's calculate until mate. Is there a mate? So check, king e2, rook f2, king f2, check. He has to go king e2, queen h5 check, and it's over. It's over. Yeah. So check, king e2. I'm just trying to think if I am not missing something. No, I'm not. Take. And now if he moves the king, then he loses the queen. Usually this is how, when many people ask me, what is the best way to finish off a winning game? The answer is always that you need to find the best moves to finish off your opponent. So here, rook f8. And if you can always find the best moves to finish off your opponent, then you are not worried about winning or losing, but you are actually focused on trying to win the game. So here I take, and that's game over. So this is something that I want to just give you guys as some kind of advice, where if you are winning, don't try to think that you're winning. Many of you would be playing against opponents whom you want to really beat, against whom you want to score, and when you start getting a winning position, you start getting really nervous. And that is where it's important to maintain your cool, maintain your calm, and to just play the best moves in the position. Okay, that is very important. So g3, first of all, let me just explain to you this entire concept that I want to do against, if your opponent plays the English or the Reti, like if he plays knight f3, g3, bishop g2, or even if he develops, let's say, with c4 here, then your plan is to just go the same concept. You put your knight on c6, you put your pawn on e5, you put your knight on e7, and that's already good. Akshay Singh says, inspired by your consistency and focus on chess, Sagar sir, keep up the good work. Akshay, if you think about, thanks for the super chat by the way, but if you think about it, chess improvement should not stop at any point. Like if you are keen on improving on chess, you need to work every single day. This is exactly, consistency is really the key. So g3, c5, bishop g2, knight c6. What I want to do here is I want to put pawn on e5, I want to put pawn on d6, and let's just make those moves. For example, e5 and d6. And what happens is that this square is weak. Always remember about weakness. Weakness is a square that cannot be controlled by a pawn. So right now d5 square cannot be controlled by a pawn, but what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to create a harmony in the position where I want to put my knight on e7 and my bishop on c8 is active. And later, because the knight is not on f6 and it's on e7, I can actually launch the attack with the f pawn. You know, I can start pushing it. So knight c3, d6, d3, and now I played e5. I believe that here instead of d6, d5 was a better move. But okay, anyway, I wanted to show this thing. So e5, e4, and now you see he's clamped on this weakness, but I'll put my knight here. Knight e7, bishop g5, and very important to not let him exchange this off easily or create more pressure with knight d5. So I play the move f6. Now this may look slightly ugly at this point because you are blocking the bishop, your own bishop on g7. But the thing is that once the bishop moves, at some point you will play f5 and it will open up. So it's not going to be passive here. Castles, a3, h6, queen d2, king h7. And yeah, this is again a very important move. You want to play f5, but you want to do it at the right time. You don't want him to come back and pin you, or you don't want him to play knight g5. So with that in mind, I feel like queen d2 might be a better move to start off with, because now I have no h6. He can just take the pawn. Yeah. So I just a3, I just took the chance to play h6, and now after queen d2, now I can go king h7. So the king is usually well placed in this position. b4, nice move. And now this is actually a point where I thought my opponent was playing well, because let's say, imagine I take, knight takes, he plays rook b1, and I just get a feeling that somehow with this position here, my bishop closed and he getting a lot of play on the queen side might well be a good position for him. Like knight c6, you jump in with knight to d5, you start creating pressure on the position. I did not like it. So I decided not to take the pawn and I played b6, knight d5. And this is the typical move that you must react with taking. Because let's say the d5 square is a weakness, whenever the pawn a pawn comes on the weakness, the square weakness is gone. Now no longer any piece can sit on this. The knight would have loved to come here, this knight on f3, but it cannot come because it is a weak square. The weakness is gone now. The pawn has taken its place. So takes knight e7, and he played b5. And I think this is a moment to actually sit down and calculate what's happening. I think he had to play the move c4. And my idea was to play f5 when I have threats like e4 or f4 and all of this in the position, or g5 and f4. I already like black's position, but b5. And now let's think. So winning, I took this pawn, and it's dangerous because the bishop is creating so much pressure on this entire diagonal. It's so strong over there, and you might feel no, I don't want to take. So here is one very important advice that I would like to give you, and always keep in mind that do not ever fear ghosts. Okay, what is a ghost? It's something which exists in your mind but not on the board. And this is true for your behavior in life as well, that do not fear ghosts in general. Don't think that something exists when it does not, and it should also show on the chessboard. Here it's very, very clear that white cannot take advantage of this. There are many moves to look at. There is knight g5, there is knight e5, there is knight d4, there is the move c4. I also looked at knight e1, but in all these moves, what I realized is that nowhere I'm losing, and so I took it. And this is where you need to believe in yourself. If at some point you calculate and your opponent is a very strong player, and you're like, oh, I have calculated this, but my opponent is such a strong player, how can he allow that? You should still go ahead with your instinct. You should not be like, oh, I think he's stronger than me. How can, say you're playing against me, how can Sagar blunder a pawn? He would never blunder such a pawn. Let me not take it. If you can't back yourself, you can never be good at anything. So back yourself up. By the way, here, if knight g5 check, I was planning to take with the f pawn, and after bishop d5, I think this would have been the best, but I'm a pawn up, and I'm very happy with my position. Nothing is happening. The other move is knight into e5, but after d5, my queen starts to defend this. And if you play c4 now, I have knight e3. And in the end, I would be a piece up here. Also, I was first a little bit skeptical about knight e1 here, because now if I move the knight, the rook will hang. If I play bishop b7, then c4 may come. I have bishop e6, by the way, here, which seems like a good move. But just knight e3 is also completely fine. Bishop a8, knight into f1, king into f1, and now just a check, and you can simply exchange this. Yeah. Julian Prasad says, I moved to US almost a year ago, and I have been unable to make any friends since I'm bad at social skills. Your Samay's Vidit streams come as bliss. Thank you so much, Julian. And well, time to make some friends. Yeah, I think chess is a very powerful tool to make new friends. If you're good at chess, you can just go to some place and find a chess club, and that's how you connect. For example, one of my very close friends he's been shifting places every few months or years. And first he was in, I think, Ireland, then he went to Canada, then he's shifting. And what I realized is that wherever he went, he tried to first look at a chess club. Where is the chess club? And he would go there and make new friends. It's actually, really, chess is a social skill. What people don't realize is you can have a chess board, you can play a game, you can have a drink or a meal over it, and you can enjoy your time over there, which is so unique. You don't even need sometimes a common language to converse. Abhishek Kamarkar says, great job, Sagar. Keep teaching. Cemil is here. Cemil, fantastic. Cemil, I guess at some point today, if Cemil would come and show one of his attacking games, if he is in the mood for it, would be very nice. Would be very nice to have him. Um, but let's look at Rook Fe1 in this position. Or maybe Cemil could play against one of the viewers or something like this. We can figure it out. I will make sure that I'll send him the link. But Cemil, of course, if only if you are free, doesn't have to be. Cemil. Yeah. Okay. So knight d5, rook fe1 was of course not a good move, because now I just took, and very important not to play bishop b7, because this is a hanging piece, and now knight g5 check comes and you just lose the bishop. So you just play your rook to b8, a4, bishop b7, knight h4, you take, and now just f5. And I think I'm a pawn up with a very nice central position, and I managed to win this. Gappan, you played well, but I think you shouldn't have blundered a pawn there. Okay, so f5 and then knight h4, f4, and this was already too much. I could have taken here and taken on f4, a1, and then on h4, but okay, taking this is okay. And now I want you guys to actually look at this. Okay, rook e1, queen h2, king f1, check. Yeah, this is where I think it's important to calculate. Many of you would play moves like bishop f4 or rook f7 or something like this, but you see, check, forced, takes. Now if he moves the king back, he loses the rook with a queen with a check, so he must take. Rook f8 check. And now look at it carefully. This is controlled by the bishop. This is the only square. Everything else is controlled by the queen. So only square is here. So let's go here. And now you see he's running from here. He's running away. So many of you would calculate queen g2, king d1, and you're like, oh, it's not winning. But look, he's running away from here. So you can give a check from here. And that's when you realize that his king is cut off like this on the file, this on the queen, and you mate him. There is a fun in surgically finishing off your opponent. If you are able to surgically finish off your opponent, there's so much to it, which I am trying to convince Samay, by the way, by not playing J&K Gambit, because J&K Gambit is something where, of course, it's fun. Yeah, like I understand. And I understand that Samay does it also so that many more people enjoy his streams. Completely understandable. But if you are trying to improve at chess, it is quite important that you understand how to finish off your opponent. It is something where you learn. By the way, here there was also another way, now that I spot it, is to play queen h2 check. But maybe, okay, I can win a queen. It's not a mate. King f1 ends in a mate after rook f8. But king f3, I was thinking maybe his king starts to run like this. Maybe I'm wrong. Possibly. Mahesh Kotapalli, I couldn't make friends either when I moved to US. I had very few friends for 3 years, and then I joined local chess club. Now I have friends of all age groups, and we catch up every week over chess. Fantastic, Mahesh. That is so good to know. By the way, I had done an interview here. If I can just show you guys. It's actually, I don't know if it was, yeah, this one. So this guy, his name is Krishna Prabhakar, and he's a very nice person. He in fact helped chess players as well. He is around 65 years old, and he told me that at some point he couldn't remember things. Like if you listen to this video, you will see that he had difficulty in remembering names of people. He had difficulty in, when he went to the washroom, he would forget to flush the toilet. Like he was forgetting things in life. And then he started playing chess. And really, he started playing chess at the age of 60. And he the thing is, it's twofold. One is that because your mind is focused at one place, his memory started to get better. That's what he said. And the second thing is, when he went to tournaments, he would find young kids ready to compete with him with all this energy. And then, he started feeling a freshness in life, which I don't know, which is so difficult to get otherwise. So this is exactly what I want to drive home the point, that it's important. It's important to just make friends in chess. Try, it would be nice. Okay, coming back. So finishing off the opponent is an art, and you must learn it. Okay, just to drive home this point of the structure that we are trying to look at, I want to show you one of my games, and it's against my very good friend. Actually, I'll try to also tell you the story related to it, because I think it can help you. It's against Niklesh, who is the head of Hindi ChessBase India. This was before ChessBase India even existed. So yeah, this game. So I decided to, this was in 2013, where I was rated 2369 and trying to become an IM. And there was this tournament called Buddhi Open in Sri Lanka. And Niklesh had won a tournament in Sri Lanka 1 year ago. So he was invited. And he told me that, Sagar, would you like to join me? And we'll go to Sri Lanka. And the organizers were, I think, very kind. They invited me. And I said, okay, looks like a good tournament. 50,000 rupees was the first prize. Later on, I realized, I don't know, I was not so much keen on the prize money or something, but I realized that one Sri Lankan rupee is 50 paise for India. So the prize fund was actually, or even lesser, like 40 paise. The prize fund was something like 20,000 rupees, which is not so much. And then I went there, and I was actually the top seed in the tournament. I was the first seed. And the next rated was 200 points below me. I was so depressed. I mean, I was like, usually when you go to an event, you want strong players to fight against. And here there was no real competition in that sense. Like, okay, I can lose, of course, but there was no one higher rated than me. It was the first time I was playing a tournament where I was the top seed, like an important one. And that's when I decided I don't care about rating, because every game I won, I would get 0.8 ELO. If I lost, I would lose 10 ELO points. I said, let's just focus on chess. Let's play good moves. Let's play the best moves in the position, and let's enjoy chess. That's the most important thing. By the way, Snehal Pathak has sent a super chat. Thank you so much, Snehal, who says, after work, I always look forward to your lessons. Knight and Bishop Tempo was an amazing lesson. Thank you for everything. Thank you so much, Snehal. I'm glad that you enjoyed it. By the way, yesterday there's this one famous YouTuber. His name is Neon Man, and he also covered ChessBase India on our and ChessBase India. I think I can maybe play it. I don't see any issues with that. So if you go to Neon Man here, he has 1 million subscribers.
तो क्या हालचाल सत श्री अकाल, मैं हूं नियॉन मैन और आज हम एक Q&A वीडियो बनाने वाले हैं.
First video, which is
तो
PUBG is banned or something, but if you go inside it, he has at some point spoken about this our fundraiser which we raised, and he speaks about, took out screenshots and spoke. So actually what we did, guys, here, and this video has been watched many times, a lot of people got very inspired by what we achieved on that day in the 57th episode, and I'm so grateful to all of you. By the way, just to share with all of you here, my idea is to create a fund where we have the best trainers. There are many good trainers in Indian chess, so to have them on the panel, and to have some good support staff, which is like a psychologist, a dietitian, a nutritionist, all of this for the chess players. And then if any student is added to our program, then he gets complete support, like he gets trained by some of the good trainers, he gets support in every possible way, and we closely monitor how each of these kids improve. Someone like, let's say, Ilam Parthi, or there are so many other talents that I can talk about, but it's just that they have to be need based, they have to be talented, and to find them and to guide them. And thanks to your support, I think this is entirely possible, and I'll be working on this in the coming days, and you will get all the updates. So I have said this before, I want to say it again, that your money, rest assured, will be used really well. So thank you for that. The Crazy Humans, thank you for your super chat. He says, me in US, a complete beginner, and my dad in India, a good chess player, who I have not met for past 2 years, have decided to play chess online and spend time together. Thank you for the lessons. Oh, that is so nice. So nice. Hasn't met his father for 2 years, but connected over the game of chess. It's unbelievable, yeah, what chess can do. So this is the same idea that I wanted to talk about, that I discussed. D3, G6, G3, bg7, bishop g2, and now I played the move d6. Okay, he played castles, and what is my move here, guys? In the chat, I would like you to just think about it. Shivansh Chopra, who's best? Ali Firuza, Vincent Kmar, Mike. What is Mike Literas? I don't know who is Mike. But I mean, Ali Firuza is just rising like anything in the world of chess. He is unbelievable. I would talk about it, but first of all, what should black play here in this? Black to move. It's just the concept that we are talking about here. Yes, absolutely. You go e5 and then you put your knight on. So it doesn't even matter if his pawn is on c4 or his pawn is on e4. I'm just going for this setup. It's known as the Botvinnik setup. Like, you put your pawns in a triangle, you have a weakness here, but you put your bishop here, knight here, and knight on e7. Okay, c3. So Niklesh was like, no, I don't want to put my knight c3 to d5. I'll put pawn to c3. Knight g7, a3, and this is typical. You want to attack on b4, so I castled b4, and I did the same thing. I kept control. I want to keep this solid, this entire thing here, and I want to start playing on the king side with f5. So played b5, I went knight to a5, c4, and now I think it was already important to start with f5 quickly, but I played the move h6. Not, I wouldn't say the best possible move here, but okay, anyway, I went h6. It was not required. As I said, I always want to make sure that knight g5 ideas or bishop g5 ideas don't come into the picture, but here it was more important to begin quickly. So h6, knight c3, bishop e6, knight d2, and now rook b8, because I want to play f5, but the problem is that when I play f5 now, he will take and my rook will be hanging here. So I just move it away. Rook b8, bishop b2, and now f5. And here, usual reaction by white should be to play f4. You know, it's not a good move here, particularly because this may end up as a weakness. But if you don't play, like if you play knight d5 as he did in the game, now I get in this move f4. Very strong move, very powerful move. And now bishop f3, and I went queen d7, knight takes, queen takes, and this is just what I want. Yeah, h5, takes, and this king is now feeling the heat. f3 may come in at some point, queen will jump in. So king g2, rook f7, knight f3. He's threatening some kind of a check here, but I stopped it. Knight g1, very passive. f3, g5, now threatening to open with g4, bishop c3, and I went g4. He blundered here with the move rook a2, and now just takes, bishop e3. You can't take here because the rook would hang, and my threat is just to remove this knight and pick up the pawn on f3. Bishop takes, pawn takes, queen e1, take, and rook f3, and this was game over, because after take, king g2, queen f6, king h2, rook takes, queen a5, h4. It was already a checkmate coming up here, and he resigned. So this is the today's learning for you guys, the Botvinnik setup. You can also try it with white. I have tried it very successfully. So once you know something with black, you can also try it with white, like c4. If opponent plays say e5, you go g3, knight c6, bishop g2, let him play g6, knight c3, bishop g7, d3, knight e7, e4, put your knight on e2, castle, and then try to play h3, f4, bishop e3. h3 might be useful, sometimes not, but you can always play it. The moment he comes here, you can just take it with your knight. So for example, here castles, knight e2. If he plays here, I will just take it and play knight e2. I like that my weakness is gone and the pawn has come here. Okay. Keith Mascarenas, thank you so much for your super chat, Keith. Pallav Doshi says, didn't sleep to watch your stream. Thank you so much, Pallav. Very kind of you for doing that. Devin Kumar, episode 57 part 2 today. Let me start it off. Thank you, Sagar, for all these streams. Also, my name is pronounced as Devin Shubharam. Well, Devin Kumar, thank you so much. Always when there is a Kumar, you feel like saying G, or maybe it's the name Devin. Yeah, like Devin Anand. Whenever it comes, you say Devin Anand Ji. But Devin Kumar, thank you so much for your super chat. Okay, fantastic. So let's get Cemil in the chat if he is here already. Cemil, if you can join us in. I don't know if any of the comedians are awake yet, but doesn't seem like it. I think yesterday there was Samay had a very tough stream where there was a point where Sukhbir Singh was there to get him on board was very difficult. He managed to do that, but at some point the number was shown, and people started messaging, calling, and on Samay's face you do not see it often. He's always smiling, he's always happy, but it affects, he gets stressed out. He's got such a big personality on his show, and then at the end of it the person his number is, and I think Sukhbir Singh was unbelievable. He was very kind. He was like, no worries, nothing of that sort. But I think after a point you feel bad, and I think it's a low moment. I am sure Samay is slightly worried, he's slightly tensed right now, but I think whenever you do something good, something important, such days are going to come. It's impossible to do something good and have all wonderful days in your life. So basically, when someone, as I had mentioned yesterday, when someone is doing high quality stuff, when someone is working really hard, trying to blaze new paths, get new people, they're going to face difficulties, and I think it's our job to support them, because it's not easy what they are doing. Uday Malik Arjun says, yesterday in Discord you said you need a year for GM, but at the same time you don't want to leave CBI and promoting the game. Is it possible that interested people like us volunteer working for CBI so that you get enough time? Uday, that's a good question. It's also has a lot. I mean, it's a very kind gesture by you. and if more people join in to work, it's great. But I have realized that the work that ChessBase India demands now has become like a full-time thing, not just for myself but also for the people involved. Like what started as a part-time thing for everyone involved now has become full-time. You can see how chess is growing, so much of things happening. And so at the end, I feel like people who join in have to work full time, and if they have to work full time, we have to pay them appropriately, and if we have to pay them appropriately, then we should have. So basically, I believe that it's important for me to make sure that the company keeps growing, not just because of the company but just because it is synonymous to chess growing in India. And I'm not sure. I mean, at the right moment, I would like to do it. And also, Amruta is here. She could take care of most of the things. But yeah, we have to manage a few things. Okay, let's see. Yeah. Cemil is here. Fantastic. Udhav Raj. Good morning, Sagar. Big fan. It would be kind of Cemil if he shows us a game in Vienna system. Okay. Fantastic. Let's see.
Hello.
Hello, Cemil. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I am wonderful, wonderful. Thank you for always being there.
Sorry, I couldn't hear. Can you repeat?
Thank you for always being there.
Oh, yeah. I always block this hour to either watch or be a part of the show, no matter what. I
Fantastic.
sometimes show up a bit late because I'm doing other things, but always I'm around.
Thank you. By the way, there was one suggestion by someone who said it would be kind of GM Cemil if he shows us a game in Vienna system. Do you play the Vienna with
No,
white?
I never played. I have always been a Roy Lopez player, so I never
Roy
played
Lopez.
Vienna.
Okay.
Yeah. I
Uh,
generally face the Vienna in Blitz when I play black, but okay, it's different story.
Okay,
So
Cemil, I showed them a system today, which was kind of a Botvinnik system. You make a
yeah.
triangle and you try. It's like a positional way of playing. So I think it would be nice if we show them something attacking, just in the spirit of you. If you have something which like your game with Inarkiev, yeah, that was crazy. It was one of your
Yeah.
best games, but just something which is a crazy attack, something fun, and like you went all out. Could be against a very weak player also, doesn't have to be a strong one, but also something that people can learn here would be very nice. I ask a lot from Cemil. I tell him, show an attacking game, show an interesting game, show something that people can learn, show every and and Cemil is like, in his head he's going back all his years of his chess career, which game. And yeah, so while you are thinking, I'll read a few super chats. As Azagappan Sivaraman. Oh, that was my opponent. Thanks, Sagar. Nerves got to me and I could not go ahead with my plan. I believe I have learned from my misses. More power to you and ChessBase Gappan. Thank you so much. I think, Gappan, also from the game analysis, you could sense that maybe at some point it was not a good idea to just give up that d5 pawn. Yeah. Devon. Okay, Devon. So Devyn is like not Devin but Devon. Okay, I'll remember that, Devon, for sure.
Yeah, I have a game.
Okay,
I
fantastic.
found a good game. It's actually same structure you just showed, so it will be specifically on the Botvinnik system.
Okay,
So
brilliant.
and it's an attacking game. There is one game which I want to show, but it will be for next time. I want at least one comedian to be here. At least
Fantastic.
they will enjoy
Fantastic.
the sacrifices. My
Brilliant.
game was against I think he was FIDE master at the time, Croatian. Jadranko Plenka or Plencha. I don't know how to pronounce his name.
Can you share your screen?
It would. I don't have ChessBase.
Okay.
Would have
Sorry.
to
Yeah.
create
I
some.
will share it. So
Yeah,
then, you cannot see my. I will share my screen as well with you.
because this laptop is new. That's why I don't have ChessBase.
I'm going
I
to
have it
send
on
it to
my
you.
second laptop
I'm going to send it to you. Is it a Mac or is it a Windows?
it is a Mac, but I I
You have.
loaded Windows inside.
Okay, fantastic. Then we have it sorted. I will be sending it to you so you can work with it. Okay. Yeah. So, by the way, before we begin, Goblet Fire has asked, what are some good chess books for beginners? Goblet Fire. I will show you my favorite beginners book, Chess Course. I love it. It's written by an Indian author, Praful Zaveri. If you go online here, and if you search Praful Zaveri Chess Course, you will find, or just write Chess Course, you will find him talking about this book for an hour. You know, so
онлайн уникальная бесклассовая система персонажей. Вы это то, что...
I'm joined here. So he talks about what is there in the book, how you can work through it, and it's a beautiful book. It's a result of 20 years of hard work of this man. He lives in Mumbai itself. I really like it. It was my first book on chess. So this is definitely, it's a 7-part book. So if you go through it, it should help you. It should help. Anything else you have suggestion, Cemil, for beginners book?
I think John Nana has some good books on like basic tactics. Like he has a book where he covers every single tactic: pin, fork, decoy, discovered, like by section, which simplifies if you're just learning. Like he shows like 3 examples or what is a fork, what is a pin, what is like mate in two and stuff, and then he asks questions.
Okay.
So I think I couldn't remember exactly the name, but I think John Nunn and his books
It's
overall.
written by John Nunn. His name is John and his second name is Nunn. He is one of the smartest people in the world of chess. I think he has a PhD in mathematics. And one more thing which I can definitely recommend to all of you guys is a ChessBase account, because here you can play online, you can do tactics, you can watch live games, you can watch videos, you can have the live database where there are 8 million games. So any position you put in and search, you can find. There is Fritz Online, which is an engine. You can learn openings, you can save your games, you can also search players, find compositions, quizzes, and chess news portal. So it's like one pack. And for ChessBase India, I think the price is very, very quite inexpensive. It's like 1500 rupees per year, or 1700 with tax, and that is nothing. Like it's like $20 a year. So try to see if that is useful for you as well. Big Dog is here. He says, yo Sagar, yo Cemil. Brilliant.
Hello.
Kshitij Tomar says, I don't play or like chess, just come to listen to genius. Okay, thank you. Okay, so let's begin here.
Yeah, so he played e4. Yeah, actually, your game was also e4, right? It was from Sicilian.
Yeah.
So I played c5.
You are black?
Yes, I'm black.
Okay.
Knight f3. I played e6. It was a weird transposition. He played g3. I played knight c6. G3 line I wasn't very familiar with. I used to play Sicilian, and I still do, but it was very rare. So I wasn't really in the Sicilian mood, but I played it anyways. He played bishop g2, and I figured there is so much theory here, so I wanted to be a bit creative. And here I played the move knight ge7. So I didn't want to, it's probably not even a good move and it's not theoretical. But my idea was if he goes d4, I want to take it twice and play knight c6 and get a position like this. So I thought it's worth a try. So I played knight e7. I wasn't very sure about it, but my opponent played castle simply. He wasn't in the mood to crash it. So he played this. And my real intuition, I wanted to play this move g6 here. But there is a big problem to this g6, and it always has to be kept in mind. Because I really wanted to get the Botvinnik structure with e5, d6, g6, bishop, just like in the game you have shown. But the problem is, if I go g6 now, there is this move d4. And the same idea before castling cannot happen, because after c d4, knight d4, and here if I go knight d4, queen d4, Now suddenly, because I played the move g6, my rook is under attack. So I
Nice.
cannot play knight c6, and I'm forced to play a move like rook g8, not something I want to do.
Yeah.
And if I go bishop g7 instead of knight d4, um, then he goes something like maybe knight b5, and I have a big weakness on d6 because the dark squares are very weak,
Yeah.
and
I think
it's
I
not
can
something.
I can just add a couple of things here, which is like usually when you play the Sicilian. By the way, uh, Devin, Devin, I understand your name now. I guess I made a mistake. It's not Devin, but Devin. So yeah. So in Sicilian, you play either e6 when you want to put your bishop here, or you play g6. When you play g6, usually you do not put your pawn on e6. The reason is simple, that for example, let's say I go d4 takes, knight takes, bishop g7, knight c3. Now if you should play d6 in such positions, or you put pawn here. If you put your pawn on e6, what happens is your dark squares start to become weak. The bishop has to be controlling this square if it was here on e7, but because you have placed it here, this becomes weak. Oh, nice, nice, nice. We have Vaibhav here. Fantastic. Vaibhav is just in time for Cemil's game.
Great.
Devon just like 7. Oh, Keith, thank you so much for this. 1 second. Vaibhav is switching on his camera. Oh, Vaibhav, good to see you. 1 minute, let me. Welcome. Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. Hello.
Maybe your camera is a little bit hazy. I don't know if that is the case, or is it
Okay.
okay from your? Yeah, now it's perfect.
Yeah,
Perfect. Perfect.
Alright.
Good to see you, Vaibhav. You had some show or something yesterday, or how was it?
No, I think I'm suffering from this, the sleep cycle thing.
Huh.
But the worst thing is, I woke up at 7:40. I switched off the alarm. But these days, I have this thing that I have to finish my dream. There's a dream that I'm having, and I have to finish it. And until I finish it, I cannot wake up.
What is this? Really? Are you sure?
So past few days, I never dream, but for the past 1 week or so, I've been
I think
having this.
Vaibhav, your life is going upside down. You may start loving music soon. You may start wearing t-shirts with many designs and colors. but this is funny, yeah. Like yesterday or a couple of days ago, when I woke up, Amruta, she said that I'm very tired because my dream was going on, and usually if my dream is over and you wake me up, I feel more refreshed. But if you wake me up in the middle of the dream, I just feel very tired.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Mhm.
There is
I
some.
feel like, it's like, someone tells you that a half a story. I mean, you can't do that, right? You need to be. It's so disturbing to not know the end. It's like I have to see it through. I've tried to continue the dreams the next day also, if I could not sleep any further. Like
Ah.
5 ghanta extra so liya. But then I slept 5 hours extra, and now I can't sleep anymore. So I make a mental note that this is what I'm gonna think of next time before going to sleep again.
Okay, so basically, Vaibhav, it's a good thing that you woke up, because Cemil is showing one of his very nice
Oh, yeah.
aggressive games, and there will be times where you have to guess the moves.
Nice.
Fantastic. Okay, so I'm
Yeah,
going to
as
share the
always.
screen. Uh, yeah, so here they are. By the way, Pallav Doshi, I guarantee that I'll reply to your mail today. Okay, so Pallav has been sending me super chat saying, but he's a fantastic. I saw some of his videos and I did my research. Just that I had not made up my mind what to write to him, and so today I will do that. Okay, so knight f3 e6, and just so starting from the beginning, Vaibhav, it was a Sicilian, and e6 g3 knight c6 bishop g2, and Cemil played knight g e7, and opponent castled, and here he wanted to play g6, but he was afraid that his opponent would go d4 takes, And what usually happens is if you put your bishop here, and if white can get in the move d4, and you have already played e6, then your d6 square becomes very weak because it is no longer defended by the bishop.
Right.
So that is why this is where we were. He was thinking whether he should go g6 or not. And yeah, go on, Cemil.
So here I played the move e5. And
You wasted a tempo, but still you got
I
the
wasted
Botvinnik.
the tempo. And there is actually a big problem to this. So I kind of want to ask the viewers who are watching the previous game, and they kind of saw how it went on. How would you play here with white to stop black getting the setup of g6, d6, bishop g7, and castles?
Okay.
So maybe to remind, like that's the exact plan. I want to go put g6, bishop to g7, and castles. That's all I want to do. But white actually has a very clever way to stop everything. So
very nice. So I'm going to just tell Vaibhav what I taught today
yes.
before you arrived was that a Botvinnik setup. It's a triangle setup where you put your pawn on c5, e5, d6. So here, let's say I'm just making moves for black, okay, not for white. So d6, then I put my bishop here, then I put pawn here, then I put my bishop here, then I castle. And so what I did was I played this entire thing. I have a weakness on d5 because it's a square not protected by a pawn, but I don't care because my knight defends it. And secondly, I have the flexibility to push the pawn to f5 and get some play rolling. And also I have control on the d4 square. So this is how the Botvinnik setup works, and this is black's plan. So here what Cemil is asking is, he played e6 and then he played e5, which is like wasting a move to get that. So can white take advantage of you're losing a tempo.
Yeah, I heard this yesterday. You were discussing what is a tempo and all that. So this is exactly losing a tempo.
Yes, actually, we are maybe Vaibhav, after this game we will discuss once more the losing of tempo thing in that end game, bishop versus knight.
Sure, thanks.
Oh, very nice. The chat is very strong, yeah, right now.
Always strong.
Always strong, yeah. Rakshit Singh says, GM Cemil sir's games are really fun to watch. Can't resist myself to try some attacking ideas. I might as well play some games and join back again. Cemil sir OP. Fantastic. Fantastic. It is a perfect, I am not a very good attacking player. I like to play positional chess, and then Cemil shows some brilliant games. So the attacker is also happy. The positional player is also happy. So any suggestions, Vaibhav? For white, how to interfere with the plan of g6?
Yeah, I kind of am thinking c3 d4, but I'm not very sure.
That's excellent.
It doesn't. It does stop it.
Yeah, it's perfect move. It's amazing move, and it would have ruined everything I planned. I was very surprised he didn't play it. Actually, I was very nervous about this because if I go g6, you go d4, and if I trade everything, once again, same story happens. As we saw, the d6 square is weakened, and I cannot take on d4 because queen takes and it attacks the rook. So it would have been a disaster. And also I have a backward pawn on d7, and that's going to be weak the whole game. I mean, I can pretty much resign against a good player in this video. It's very bad because I spent an extra move to play e5, and I also started a move down. So I basically am like 2 moves down, and it's just very bad. So c3, I was going to go d6 and try to play this position, maybe without the Botvinnik setup. But
it's already not so good. So basically, when you waste time in the opening, as white, you should try to open up the position, and that is exactly what Vaibhav did. Vaibhav, I guess intuitively you just had the right idea, like play c3 d4.
Like I tried 2-3 options and they were not working at all. So this is the last thing that I could think that It's the only thing we can. But I don't get it. So what should black do though? Like once c3 is pushed, then what is the best way
Then
for
I was going to go d6, and after d4, maybe I can trade now, or just maybe ignore, go like bishop g4 or something. Try to play it a bit differently, but it's really not what I want to do. So if he goes something like d5, I'm not really upset because I get something like a King's Indian. So King's Indian is this structure basically, and it's like blocked. So I can go f5 at some point, try to prepare this. But I mean, any dynamic play against me in this position is probably bad for me because I'm not developed on the king side. My rook, my bishop on f8, so my king cannot castle. And white has all the time to maybe gather around something. I don't know exactly what, but I think white should have sufficient time.
Okay. So he
Okay, I
didn't
was
he
lucky.
didn't do c3.
No, he played knight c3,
Ah.
and I was very happy because now I played g6.
Now you are back. Okay,
And
good.
I'm
We
not very scared about this weakness on d5, as you said. So he played d3, bishop g7. He played bishop g5. I don't think it's a great move. I just played h6 because this is a move I always want to play in
yeah,
this setup,
yeah,
anyways.
absolutely.
Because black bishop generally develops to e6, and there are knight g5 problems. So black always plays h6 anyway. So bishop e3 he played. And I understood his idea. After I played d6, which looked perfect for me, he played the move queen d2. So this was his idea of playing bishop g5, that he provoked me to play h6. And the point is that if I castle now, he wants to just take my pawn on h6. Because what black really wants to do is castle and put the king on h7 so that the king is not in any danger, and eventually go f5, f4, and just really start the attack. But once he played queen d2, I realized it's actually not so easy to do this.
So
Well, I
that's why
can,
maybe I can suggest perhaps f6 could have been a better idea here. Bishop
yeah,
e3 and then d6, and if he goes queen
yeah,
d2, you can anyway castle. Perhaps this way.
definitely. Probably here he wants to go bishop h6 and trade the bishops,
Yeah.
but it's definitely a choice for me to do this.
Hmm.
Um, but I wasn't so upset because I had the plan is still in time. So I played after queen d2, bishop e6. So I'm not really doing anything different. I'm just developing my pieces, just like in the Botvinnik setup. He played a3, and here I played queen d7. Also very natural move because sometimes you want to go bishop h3, everything is covered. So it's just very natural development move. And here he played this move, rook fb1,
Oh.
which is interesting. He has a clear idea of playing b4, and the reason he played the rook on f is maybe potentially if I take on b4, after he takes a b4, the rook on a1 also is going to work. So that's his idea. And
I
he had a
think
second idea.
yeah. Let's ask Vaibhav the second idea because it's very subtle and could be
Oh
interesting
yeah,
to think about.
yeah.
And also why Vaibhav? So the question is why to bring this rook. One is Cemil says b4. If takes, this rook gets activated. But there's also another idea, which is why he played it.
I have a feeling like was black once black goes queen d2 d7, it looked like black might castle king side, maybe queen side, maybe that's why to
Yes, so that makes complete sense to attack so that if takes, both the rooks are then in the attack. So that is
yeah.
one reason which Cemil said. But there's another reason, and what is it that why he could have even done like this move here, rook a b1, but he played here for two reasons. Uh,
Hmm.
by the way, very interesting point to note here is that Cemil's opponent has stopped him from castling short because this pawn is hanging, and now has also stopped him from castling long because b4 is very aggressive. So actually, the king doesn't know what to do. It has to remain in the center right now.
Yeah,
That was slightly stressful, yeah, Cemil here.
yeah, definitely. I mean, he's definitely slightly better here. He probably lost most of his advantage, but it's for sure better for him.
Mhm.
And,
Hmm. What else is black? what is this white stopping black from by bringing the rook to b1? Hmm.
So basically, when I played Queen d7 and put the bishop on bishop on e6, what was my potential idea? Like when the two pieces are aligned in same diagonal, generally they coordinate somehow, right? Especially queen and bishop. So this is a typical idea when the two.
I thought you said, right, like that the light square bishop needs to be exchanged.
Yeah, so it was an idea. So that's why he played something related, like
All right.
because yeah, if you think the rook on f1 and the bishop on h3 would be facing each other. So yeah.
All right. So there'll be
But
rook on f1 then after the
yeah,
exchange.
so if the rook was on f1, he couldn't do what he did in the game. So after bishop h3, the idea was to go bishop h1. This is what he played. I think this is actually bad in this situation. But sometimes it is a great idea. But in this case,
Oh,
it's a bad idea
oh.
because of how weak his king side is. But the subtlety is there that sometimes you play the rook. And there are some positions where white plays like rook fe1, and you're like, what is he doing? But the whole idea is to meet bishop h3 with bishop h1.
Okay.
So
It's actually called prophylaxis. I think we have discussed this in many sessions, that when opponent has a plan, like when he puts his pieces here, you ask yourself, what is the idea of my opponent? Oh, he wants to go here. Is this good for him or good for me? It seems like I should keep my bishop, but once he comes here, I cannot go back because rook is hanging. Let me move my rook. Which is the good square? Let's play it to b1.
yeah. But bishop h1, as I said, it's bad. But why is it bad? I think now we can start attacking with the audience.
Okay, let's start attacking. Now is
I think-
Cemil mode. So you have to begin an attack. And this is what I like about Cemil. It's like always forward. And his
No
opponent,
backward.
his opponent didn't understand that going backwards is not good. So he played bishop h1 and Cemil was like, okay. He rubbed his hands.
Yeah.
Now let's go for the attack.
Actually, I'm thinking none of my moves went back, although it's the opening. Yeah, and I will just keep on going forward in this position.
Well, Cemil, I think you should write a book on chess called Moving Forward or something like this. Where all moves just go forward every time.
That's actually a great idea. That's actually a great idea. I'll take this suggestion very seriously. If I publish a book like 2 years from now, yeah, you will know.
Sure. And Sumedh has asked a question which is like, in which cases is saving this bishop good? In which cases is allowing him to exchange good? Is there some rule that they can remember?
It's very tough to generalize, I think, in chess. I can't really come up with a rule of thumb in such positions, but maybe what I can say is that if your king is safe on g1 in general, then it's a good idea to keep the bishop on h1. Because what I mean by this is that the bishop on h3 restricts the white king quite a bit. So if I could like actually give a check to this king, it's almost made. If I can like successfully deliver a check somehow.
Yeah.
So it's very dangerous. Like I don't want to give spoilers because everything is connected to it.
Okay.
But
so you will,
yeah.
Sumedh, by this game you can
you will understand
learn.
why we shouldn't play bishop h1.
Correct. Okay, Vaibhav, any suggestions to start the attack?
Yeah, I have two, but I don't like either right now. I can't calculate further. One is knight d4 and the other is f5. These are two things that I was thinking.
I mean, I laugh because they're both top two choices of the engine.
My God, Vaibhav,
like one of them is better by far. The other one is the better move compared to the other. So which one is top for you? Which one would you like?
I would rather go like knight f4, knight d4 right now.
Okay, I didn't play that. That's not what I did. I played f5.
All right.
But knight d4 is actually a very strong move as well.
Very nice. Vaibhav, amazing. Yeah, like your dream. Maybe you should dream and play chess. Finding
Yeah,
all the
because you
best
got
moves.
the idea right that
And you can't capture.
White's king
Right?
is so weak that we need to bring pieces towards the White's king. And what is the point of f5? Maybe you can try to think about it this way.
Yeah, I
That
couldn't calculate it to the end though. I mean, I just feel like so once it captures, my knight goes in, so knight also comes into the action, and it can't be attacked very easily unless he wants to weaken, like push g4 and weaken the structure further.
Okay,
Uh,
Vaibhav, go concrete. This is one thing which I want you to do is look at if it was black's move now again, what would he play concretely, like move by move, not just some concepts like okay, I want to get this. Black to move now. If it's white to move actually in this position, but I would like you to think it's black to move. What would you play? Ipshita is saying waiting for Adiban's book, but now also for Cemil sir's book.
I will try to write it as fast as I can.
hey,
No, I heard
obviously,
them say at some point he was like the book doesn't have a publisher, doesn't have a name, doesn't have anything, or maybe he was joking, but
No,
I don't
no.
know.
I
I was
think
laughing a lot.
AD is a person who shows a very cool and everything is just calm and he's just enjoying it. But when he begins working, I'm sure he's working very
Yeah.
seriously on the book. He's very serious about it.
I mean, you don't get the nickname Beast for nothing.
Yeah,
So
absolutely, absolutely.
I'm thinking f4
exactly.
because
Brilliant.
I mean I will open up the king side after that.
Exactly. That's why I said don't play bishop h1 because if I get f4, gf4, queen g4, you will get mated. And yeah, my opponent really couldn't find a move. He played knight e1. And I was already even more hungry because, like the guy's going back and I'm just pushing him back in the line. But it's still not so obvious. I have to make a decision now. And it's black to play.
Black to move, and well, you have started off the attack. The idea of the opponent is with knight e1, he is controlling this square even one more time. So he's trying to fight against this plan. So what should black do?
I think still f4, right? No, does it
And
not
it
work
takes
now? Does it?
Take.
And take back from ef, bishop,
bishop,
and then queen check and
bishop g3 maybe.
oh.
Also, I mean, here bishop g2 is possible. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know if it's a good move or not, but because the knight is here, it controls this. So, but Vaibhav, this giving up a pawn is not such a stupid idea. So, I don't know what's the right move, but Jamil will explain.
Oh yeah, I mean your intuition is perfect, but you just fell for your own typical mistake of recapturing immediately after f4, and he took. Look at the position once again.
We can give a check right now also.
We can, but it's really not that effective because he goes bishop g2. So as an attacker, my mindset is always how can I bring more pieces in the game, and this is very important. When you're attacking, you really need more pieces. So remember why I couldn't castle in the previous moves, because it was the bishop was attacking h6, and now after I played f4, and I really wasn't calculating that much, because if you try to calculate these, you will be very exhausted. I was playing it based on intuition. Now that the bishop cannot attack h6, here I had the chance of playing short castles. So I'm bringing the rook on the f file to the attack, and it looks like I'm weakening my position. But if you really take on e5, after I take with the knight, I bring even more pieces. So more and more are coming, and now queen g4 is actually a big problem because knight f3 is in the air. As you can see, the connections now, the king and the queen can get forked and stuff like that. And this is almost lost already because when you're attacking, you should think this way. How many of my pieces are attacking and how many defenders are there? If you look at the right side of the board, white's rooks are doing nothing. They are just out of the game. They are like, I don't know, just having fun on the side. The knight on c3 also, completely missing in action. So, but when you look at it, my queen can suddenly enter, my knight on e5. Okay, bishop on h3 is great. The rook on f8 already there. So that's why when you're attacking, one pawn is not so important. It's just about the initiative and the piece play.
So
So
Cemil, would you say that usually you need around 3 pieces to attack successfully against opponent's king, and if you can get 4, that is even better?
yeah, I think so. I mean, for me, personal experience, the more I have, the better it is.
Yeah.
So I try to bring as many into the attack. I value all my pieces as attackers potentially. So I try to bring them all. That's my strategy. But you are right. We need at least 3, especially for a king which is guarded relatively well, because
Yeah.
it's very tough to checkmate with 2 or 1 piece only.
No, this is such a nice concept, yeah, Vaibhav. Like f4, open up his king, and then castle to bring one more piece into the attack.
Yeah.
Vaibhav
So
is
here,
not convinced, but okay, Vaibhav, what do
No,
you
I'm
think?
convinced. I'm just thinking.
Like, no,
I'm
but
absolutely
if you have
convinced.
some question, it would be nice. Like if
I'm
you
just thinking like how I did not think of castle also. So I was just wondering how it becomes a default setting of the mind to think in a way that this should have been a castle move rather than capture or not capture.
yeah. So one of the tips I have is that I always had this hierarchy in chess that the very first is like control the center, and this is what we all know, and then develop your pieces, and then it comes like king safety. And I realized my king is in the middle of the board, so I put king safety as a priority here. That's why giving up one pawn is not so important. So meanwhile, I sacrifice a pawn. I actually want to put my king into safety and also bring pieces. So I'm doing a few things at the same time. That's why I am just sacrificing a pawn willingly. And if you like see it, these pawns are doubled, so it's not like a big deal at the end of the day.
can I give
Um,
an analogy? Maybe it could be
sure.
useful.
Of course, yes.
So what happens is usually, let's say when you are attacking and you play a move like f4 and takes, your first instinct is always to go queen g4 check. It's like the pieces which are already in the attack, you want to see what happens, and then you see he may play bishop g2, and now you're thinking to yourself, okay, can I get my knight in, can I take the pawn? And the more you start to think, the more you realize that after knight jumps in, he goes king h1 something, and something's not working, there's no check anymore. Now suddenly he's planning to take, maybe the bishop sits back over here, or maybe instead of king g1 there is also this move here, bishop g3, and the attack is not going through. It's like, let's say if you are running a company and you have two people working for your company, and they both are working at their maximum potential, and you are asking them, work harder, work harder, work more efficiently, but there's only so much that two can do. The plan is to get more people, and that's when actually you realize that it is at this moment when I should get new people into the company or new people into the attack. And that's how you basically think of this concept of getting more pieces. It's not like Cemil has an intuition which is developed at such a level that he realizes this is not working, let me get more pieces. But usually for players, they make use of their existing forces here, what are there, and they see, no, it's the two pieces are not able to do much, I need more. So then the moves like knight d4 come to mind, but I think castle is just too good, because a rook is really a powerful piece when it enters.
Yeah, absolutely. And here he played knight e2, and he's going backwards. Like he really can't do much. And okay, here black has many choices. And to be fair, the best move was rook a d8. Just bring in more pieces.
Here.
Like sacrifice, yeah, just sacrifice the pawn. But I didn't realize this was the best move.
but
And
but why on
the move,
d8? Because here the rook is doing nothing. Yeah.
yeah, it looks like it's doing nothing, but in the game it actually did quite a bit. But I flipped the move orders. I didn't play rook a d8. I played the move d5
Ah,
because
you want to go d5.
I cannot go sideways. I have to go forward. None of my moves are like, okay, castling is unfortunately straight, like sideways.
Okay.
And d5 sacrifices another pawn on c5. But
Who cares? Yeah.
who cares? I mean, if he takes, I wanted to take on f4 because this is just becoming a big mess for him to even handle. Like all my pieces are just coming into the game. So there is nothing really concrete. It's just that my bishop is improved, my queen is coming, and everyone is joining. And yeah, he didn't take. He played f3. And yeah, I played rook d8. Brought one final piece into the game.
Now it makes sense. Yeah.
It's very important to bring all your pieces. It's just like a must for me.
Again, but
And
like, why D file? Why not E or anything else? Because you kind of feel. Did you have plans that you're gonna open up the D file sometime?
exactly. So now, if you look at it, my queen is looking at his queen, right? So this file. But if I would take on e4, he can take d4, and it would just be a queen trade if I take his queen.
Right.
And instead, what I want to do is I want to back it up with a rook so that I win the piece on d2 if it is free. So I'm actually threatening to take on e4 now.
Yeah.
And yeah, my opponent was smart. He played rook d1 after rook d8. So he basically defended his queen.
He still wants to take on e4 with the d pawn.
Yeah, because his idea is that if he takes with the f pawn, he weakens the g4 square again, and this time it will be like forever because his pawn on h2 can never go to h3 because my bishop is there, and it will be a weakness there. So he really wants to take with the d pawn, and I didn't mind it. I took on e4 because I want to open up as many files as possible for my rooks, and he captured with the d pawn as planned. And as an attacker, you never want to trade queens. It's very rare. I played the move queen c7. And I am attacking his queen and giving him a choice of where he wants to go. Because he played this move f3, and this is not really a problem now, but in the future it can be a weakness because whenever you push a pawn, you generally weaken something like a square or a diagonal or anything related to the absence of that pawn. So since that pawn is on f3, now e3 is weaker, the diagonal a7, g1 is weaker, and so on. So I played this move queen c7, and maybe potentially at some point my pieces will start going on this long diagonal to his king. He played queen c3.
There's a question by Omkar, and he asks, in such a position, I would never ever think of playing d5. He's like, I would rather like to, try to do something here, maybe some idea like this. Maybe go like, no, after taking, you can play g5, like not directly, but take and so how does this idea of d5 even come to mind?
So whenever I think about these things is that the center is like connected to all parts of the board, to the queen side, to the king side, and it's much easier to shift your pieces over when the center is like open for you, not for everybody, but like when you open it up so that it satisfies you. Like for example, I can go rook d8, rook d6 at some point, it will be much easier. But if the position is blocked, I can't do it. Or my knights can jump in easier. If he takes, I take with the knight, and then suddenly it goes to f4. So I'm opening more files and diagonals, which will eventually harm his king on g1. So I maybe easier is okay. Football maybe not really an analogy, but for me, soccer is like a big thing. So it's changing sides is not easy in football. It's just far. But if you pass it to the middle, it's easier to connect it to the other side.
Yeah,
So
very well
yeah,
explained.
it's a different analogy, but I guess it works for.
Yeah.
So the center is like it connects everything. It's like the city center. It's easier to get from the city center to one end to the other than from the edge of it, So that's why I play like this. And yeah, okay, he played queen c3. And okay, I was a little surprised when he played queen c3 because my bishop on g7 is looking at the queen.
Yeah.
And I was scared for him, but then I realized that he wants to give a check on c4 and he would not be attacked. But nevertheless, as an attacker, of course, you always go forward. Then I took on f4 because I'm attacking the queen. Queen c4 check, king h7, and here he took my rook on d8. And the reason he does this is that if he takes on f4 or something, I just take with the rook. I have enough power on the f4 square because two minor pieces is generally better than rook plus pawn. It's tough to say it always, but especially in a situation like this where white king really needs shelter, this is a big problem. And queen e3 is mate if I'm allowed next one. So he has to watch out. So that's why he played rook d8 first, with the idea that if I take with the rook, he will take with the bishop on f4. But I was smarter than that, and I played queen takes d8.
Queen. I thought knight takes you might take, but then maybe.
Then maybe queen c5 is a move, which bothered me. And also, I had another plan. That's why I took with the queen.
Sorry, why is c5 threatening? Like, what is c5 threatening?
If knight d8, queen c5, the queen is attacking the queen.
Right. Okay.
That's,
so there's
that's
an
why I
exchange.
lost the
Yeah.
pawn.
There's an all right. Cool.
And yeah, I took with the queen, and he took on c5. And now it's a good time to think again.
Now this doesn't work.
This is nice question. Yeah, let's ask them. Why does this not work?
Okay, so black to move here. What is the problem?
Yeah, I sometimes forget basics of the game.
Yeah, no, but he took on c5 with the bishop in the game, right?
Yes.
Okay, so in the game, the move played was bishop c5, but first, just what happens here?
Is it bishop d4 check, and that picks up the? I mean, it's an exchange of bishop, but
Very close, but think it's the right idea, but execute because he will take the knight with the knight there.
yeah, he takes with the knight, and then the rook captures on f4.
Yes, but it's an equal exchange. Yeah, you lost a bishop, he got the bishop. You could do something better.
And this is all because he played f3.
Yeah. I'm thinking knight e5 and if knight e5, no, that doesn't. Knight captures, and that's it. Nothing
So
else.
let me ask you, if this was a puzzle randomly appearing, what would you start looking at?
Checks, captures, and threats, right?
Exactly. That's what I was going to say.
So check, that's like first is d4 check, then there is. That's the only check I have, I think.
Yeah.
Or
And
I
we
want to go
eliminated
queen.
that.
Queen makes no sense. Okay, so bishop is the. Sorry, what did he say?
And we eliminated the checks.
Yeah. So checks and captures. If rook captures bishop, knight captures on f4, and then we go for the check.
I like how Vaibhav's eyes widen and absolutely.
Yeah, then we go for the check, and it's mate because that's bishop on h3 and the bishop on d4. Two bishops are too strong.
Even this would be a nice.
Even this is nicer. You trade the queens.
Right.
And clean up the material.
But
yeah, so that's why I didn't take on f4.
Sorry, why is queen d4 cleaner? Like, I mean,
No, it's
putting the
just,
bishop there would help us win the queen then, right?
yeah, but it's mate.
Oh, okay.
It's
Material
like
is not important.
I think when you checkmate your opponent like this, if it's done like, see for example with the bishop, and he takes here and you win the queen, a queen usually ends with such checkmates.
Right,
But
right,
when
right.
the bishop does it, it's
But
even more cute.
yeah, it's like a minor piece,
Yeah.
lesser strong, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
So he takes bishop c5, and I think now the real fun begins, to my opinion.
Mhm.
This is the real attacking component.
This is the crazy part, yeah, of the game.
Yeah, it's actually going to start taking off. The game lasted 5 moves.
5 more moves. Oh, brilliant, brilliant. So
Like,
five.
it's actually, it looks so far, but the game is actually going to end
No,
very
no,
quickly.
we know with the, Cemil's games, it's never really too far. The end is always somewhere near.
The end is near, yeah.
So, some attacking concept, and yeah, but here it's very difficult to combine something. Like for example,
Yes.
this is definitely a weak diagonal here. We have deducted that. Also, I'm looking at some checks coming in from here. But
Hmm.
yeah, how do you combine everything? How do you move away this knight somewhere? How to use this knight, this bishop, this guy's here? So basically it's about tactical or aggressive combination. Like how do you combine stuff? And this is what you learn now in the next 5 moves.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's no checks right away. We give a check
Okay.
on d5, d4. Bishop captures, queen, queen, knight, knight. I don't like it. Oh, captures, 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 captures. No. My first instinct basically was d2, queen d2, but I don't think that is making a lot of sense here. Mm,
Yeah, not bad.
Not bad at all. That's not the move I played, but it's in
Maybe
the
maybe
card.
if you come to queen d2, he may go queen d3, wanting
That's
to
exactly
exchange
the
the
problem.
queens.
yeah.
That's exactly the problem. So
Mm, right.
the idea is queen d2, but we don't want queen d3.
Okay, so if knight e5 and then queen d2 maybe,
Exactly. Good job.
and then queen
Queen.
d2.
Yeah, that's exactly how the game went. Knight e5, attacking the queen, and here he played queen b3.
Oh,
I played queen d2,
Nice.
ignoring the knight on e7 completely,
mm,
which is
Okay,
something.
this guy is hanging for now, so maybe he can't take, right?
Exactly. If he takes, I take the knight, and I'm threatening mate on f1, so he cannot take my rook. And yeah, the position is just collapsing
mm.
very quickly. So that's why he played the move knight c3. Now, uh, black to play.
Ravi Chan has said chess is a game that is very poetically balanced when played well. Is it the beauty of the game or just because the players are equally good? Yeah, quite a tough question. But I
Yeah.
think good players generally understand what are the dynamics in the position. Like here, Cemil very clearly guessed that it's very important to bring the rook into the game. When is the right time to give this up? So I think good play, at the same time some bad play by the opponent also. Otherwise, it will always end in a draw. You know, chess as a game is drawish. So
Mm.
Mm, yeah, I don't see anything working. Okay. Okay, check captures threats then. Check is queen captures e is nonsense. Queen. There's knight captures on f3, bishop captures, and it's protected twice. I don't think that makes sense. That's it, I guess. There's no other checks, I guess. Captures. And threats.
Let me look at the chat and see if somebody got it. It's loading.
Can't believe. Okay. So this is a mate in 2, you're saying?
No, not yet.
Oh, you said 5 moves. Mate in 3. Okay, sorry.
He resigned in 3 moves, but he wasn't
All
mate.
right.
Okay, I see some people got it in the chat.
Vaibhav, when you see a tactical idea in a position, you try to make that a check on d4 here will end the game, like with the queen. You also know that bishop is actually looking here, but somehow this knight is in between. Can something work where you move that knight away and
If
then...
I capture and then go,
But
I capture with the check and then give it.
the problem is this guy then starts defending this square, so it
So
doesn't...
my first idea was knight c6, knight c6. No, sorry, knight ec6.
This guy?
Knight 7c6.
Yeah,
right?
not bad. Bringing more pieces, but
I was thinking because
Yeah,
now I can go.
it's good too. Actually,
maybe this move here.
oh yeah, that's a big problem. The queen is yeah, the queen actually has nowhere to go. So our opponent has a threat. Now that we identified it.
Yeah, there's a big threat.
Also think about me. I generally go always forward. I mean, knight ec6 is forward, but it's still like in my zone, or it's not so forward. And you really want to activate this bishop on g7.
Okay. Oh, I didn't consider. What if knight g4? I don't know. Knight g4 captures, and then I can start pushing the pawn. Maybe.
No, if he captures, there's a mate directly. Cute. Let's mate with a cute way.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so you saw this motive before, and the motives are always there. Same idea, same team, same tactic. It's just different situation, but it's same idea.
Right.
So knight g4, it's just a good move. Because why? Because I'm attacking and I'm stopping rook d1. Why am I stopping rook d1? This is very important. Otherwise, I could have brought my knight back somewhere too. But knight g4 does another thing. Can you tell me what it does?
I mean, it's okay. Check, capture. Knight g4 does something else. All right.
Vaibhav, mate in 1.
Okay. h2.
Yeah, h2 mate. It's like an illusion because it doesn't look like I'm threatening h2. I'm threatening bishop d4, but queen h2 is just mate. So he had to play bishop g2 here. He had to cut the connection between my queen and give himself a room on h1.
Does knight g2 work, or doesn't make sense?
Knight g2.
Maybe bishop d4 just is too strong.
Yeah, it's just mate. Yeah. Because queen f2 at the end.
And mate. Yeah. Okay. So bishop g2 was played in the game.
Yeah. I played 3 more moves and he resigned. But the last 3 was actually very fun to play.
Okay.
I should say. For me, it was fun. Not fun.
So now check.
Oh. Nice.
Yeah, you saw it, yeah? It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's very nice.
This is one of my favorite games for sure.
Guys, in the chat, after this game gets over, you should tell if Cemil should write a book or not. Like these are some brilliant games that he's played, and also the way he explains them is very nice. So
Yeah, sometimes it's tough to explain some moves because sometimes they don't fall into a category. It's more like
Is it
intuition. Yeah.
is it the smothered mate that you're thinking? Like,
Yes, 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 yes. Oh wow.
brilliant,
Yeah.
brilliant.
Bishop d4, and then it
Yes.
starts from there. Bishop d4
Exactly.
captures, queen
Capture.
captures,
Yeah.
king has to go, and yeah.
But he
King
goes
H1.
here.
King goes there, then bishop captures,
Excellent, excellent.
and then knight
Bishop
captures.
He resigned
and-
actually. He didn't give me this
Yeah.
chance.
Man, Vaibhav, what a good calculation. Because if takes here, then
Yeah. Oh, wait, I thought you knight would capture, but yeah, I did not think this. But wait.
okay,
Oh,
let's
then
finish.
then-
Let's first finish the knight one. Let's enjoy
then-
this.
Then knight f2, king knight h3, and smothered mate.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
nice.
yeah, I did not calculate
That's
if
why
the
this
king
game is
captures.
very nice.
I did not calculate if king captures. Wait. If king captures here, then queen f2 and king goes to here, and I mean he's still going to be mated for sure. Queen h2 captures, and
finish it, mate in one.
yeah, queen h5.
Brilliant.
Queen g3 also.
Yeah.
Multiple mates is always good. But that's amazing that you saw all the way from bishop d4. It's fantastic because it's quite a long line actually when you think about it. It's from move 26 to move 32. So that's like 6-7 moves for black only. So it's lengthy calculation. But since you know the idea, it was much easier for you to visualize.
Yeah.
And that's what we mean by pattern recognition in chess. I was so happy to see this because it was like my first smothered mate. I didn't really do any other, but
Cemil, when you showed this checkmates, we got 2 super chats. One is by Anshuman ji, who's contributed 10,000 rupees. Anshuman ji, thank you so much. This was a beautiful game, and I think the super chat really portrays the beauty of this. I mean, it's like if you think about it, like when Marshall played the move Queen G3 and everyone put the gold coins. Same way when you showed this mate, like it was like, okay, super chat. Anshuman ji and Dr. Man Yusuf, thank you so much for your super chat as well. Very kind of you, both of you. Thank you so much for the super chat. I guess Cemil, Vaibhav, brilliant game, yeah?
Yeah, incredible. Like, wow. The whole idea of using the F file, pushing F pawns, F4 over there, and then I really like the idea. Like, castling was the one thing.
ये वाला idea बढ़िया था.
I think this just like takes everything away. Then so much pressure.
This is a very tough move actually. To just.
But for me, what I learned more from this game is this break in the center, because seriously speaking, when I attack, I'm too unidimensional. I'm more like a king side pe attack karenge, and that's why I'm not a very good attacker, because I'm like, I'll get the queen, I'll take this pawn, I'll maybe try to get the knight. All this is natural, but he like blasted the center, and that brought all his pieces, and in the end actually we see that this square was so critical, this one here.
Yeah. And that's all thanks to opening up the center.
Absolutely. I think, guys, this is a big lesson for you to learn, and I think a good analogy is of football, that from the center it's very easy to go on both sides, and if you open the center it's very easy to attack. So Cemil, oh man, everyone said you should write a book. Obviously, and I'm sure that a lot of people would buy it, would learn from it, and would learn attacking ideas. And when you say there are certain concepts which are difficult for you to explain, it's only because you haven't thought about them to explain it. You played it. But I think if you
Yeah.
sit down to explain, I don't think it would be too difficult for you
Yeah,
to
for
do
sure,
that.
for sure. That's
I think
absolutely.
White played like decently well. It defended quite a few times, but just this castling and c5, the beautiful moves.
Yeah, I mean, some of them like just threw him off completely, so he was just shocked.
Nice.
What was the rating of your opponent?
I think 2200, 2300, not bad player.
Okay, fantastic.
I think he was a FIDE master at the time.
Okay, fantastic. So, guys, I think we should call it a day. Today it's 10 o'clock, and Vaibhav, we can discuss the end game, the tempo loss one tomorrow, if you don't
Sure.
mind.
Sure, sure.
I am planning tomorrow, hopefully. Let me see. I have spoken to a legend in Indian chess who may want to come tomorrow. I will remind him if it's possible. But I'll keep it a secret. It's not Anand, but it is someone who has beaten Anand several times when he was young, and he is the person who scored the first grandmaster norm. The first grandmaster title was won by Anand for India, but you need 3 GM norms to become a GM. So the first norm which was made was by him. So
I think I remember the name. T से था
ha
उनका
ha
नाम,
ha ha
प्रवीण
ha.
प्रवीण या कुछ ऐसा नाम
Correct,
उनका.
correct. So if it's possible, he would come and maybe he would teach something very interesting. I will update, but thank you so much, Vaibhav, for
Thanks.
coming in, and Cemil, as always, big pleasure to see your games. I think crowd just waits for some of your attacking gems. It's like you join in and they learn so much to attack.
Absolutely, I'm happy to show them. There is one more, but I'm keeping that for like a bigger moment, So that game will be similar to this one.
Brilliant.
Nice.
Okay, we would love to
Maybe
see
one
that.
day, if three of us are here, we can do
Yeah.
what you did with a game, like guess the next move, and that gives you a point. Like the
Okay.
entire game thing that Sagar did, that was really nice. Like throughout the game, they were like, you have to guess the next move, and then every time you guess the right next move, you get a point. That was
Yeah,
really nice.
that's a good idea. I think, Jamil,
That's a
if
great
that
idea.
game which you did, if in that game there could be around like 10, 15 points where you can ask, then we can get Samay and Biswa both. I think Biswa, to wake him up, we need to give him some incentive, like, oh, if you win this, you will get so and so. So maybe he'll come, and then would be nice to see it.
Okay. We can arrange the points of that game for sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you,
Thanks
Jim.
so much. Thanks,
Bye.
Jamil.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Sagar.
Thank you so much.
Bye. Bye. Okay, brilliant. That was a fantastic session. I think a lot of things to learn from Jamil, how to attack. Guys, I really want you to make sure that such brilliant content doesn't you should be checking it out more often. So please go to Jamil's YouTube channel and subscribe to it. I have already subscribed for it, and I believe that he puts up really nice content, and he can explain things also really well. So it's really fun if you can learn from him. And the last thing which I want to mention is today at 5 o'clock we have Anna Muzichuk, who's going to come on ChessBase India. So if you go to 2700 Chess, by the way, a very good website to keep in mind to see what are the rating fluctuations at the highest level. So you will see Carlsen's rating here, and every game that is played is shown here. See, Hari Krishna is playing. By the way, oh, look at this. I didn't know. Look at this. Hari Krishna and Vidit are right, because Hari Krishna is playing in BL. He is now just 2 elo points away from Vidit. So there's a fight for India number 2, while Anand is here at India number 1. So 2700 Chess, please check this out. And here there's women's list, and we are today going to have Anna Muzichuk, who's world number 7 in women's, going to come to ChessBase India and solve some tough positions that I'm going to pose her with. So it will be like you'll get an insight into the mind of one of the best female players in the world of chess. This will happen at 5 p.m. It will be a 1-hour session, and I would be grateful if you guys can join in and learn from her. That would be very nice. But also check out this 2700 chess website. I was so impressed with this website that I went on and did an interview with Artyom Sepotin. He's the founder of 2700 chess, and he speaks about how he managed to get this website done. So check that out as well. I think that's all for today. And lastly, the first link in the description is the Knighthood Blitz, where we are going to have, we had Sujit come on show yesterday, and a lot of you very much enjoyed seeing him. So this is the blitz happening on 1st of August. So do enroll for it. I think there's a lot of things to be gained, and Vidit is going to be playing against the age category players and also against the specially abled players, and all the money will be donated to ChessBase India Foundation for the blind, physically disabled and deaf and mute players. So please join in this good cause, and I'll see you tomorrow, guys. See you today evening. Like the stream. Bye bye. I'm just checking the chat in case I missed something important. Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much. Bye bye.